How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dyson Sphere Program. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far. If you guys have, you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe, as it really does help out the channel and does show the YouTube algorithm some nice support. Um, let's see. In the last episode, we worked on some things. Can't really remember what those things are, but if you're watching this sequentially and in the playlist, you already know what happened. uh, anyway, we're still working towards getting the gravity? Yeah, gravity matrix. Um, and although it looks fairly simple and kind of straightforward, it is a little bit more difficult than I originally was anticipating. The gravitation lens were actually pretty easy. It's turning out to be the quantum chips that are the pain in the butt, primarily because of how many processes there are in order for us to get the quantum chips. We had to increase how many processors we're making. I had to make titanium glass, made the cashmere crystal, and now we're working on plane filters. Before we do that, I've had to build some of the equipment we're going to need for our kind of resource processing, and we can kind of see that illustrated here. So I've set up iron, and then I've set up a bunch of copper, and so basically copper ore gets delivered, copper gets processed, copper plate comes out this side. I'm like, why isn't it being pushed? But I forgot. It waits for the bottom one to fill up first and then the demand. Technically, we could do something like this to force it as such. Right, instead all of it's just going to go in here. So now a bunch of copper is going to go here. It's going to fill it up, and then stations go off to Beta Arundi 3. I think I'm going to end up renaming the planets, because I believe we can do that. I've been kind of thinking some Star Wars names, because Beta Arundi 1 reminds me of Mustafar, and Beta Arundi 2 reminds me of either Mandalore, or it reminds me of, I want to say it was Dantooine, but I'd have to look at the actual planets. This planet, of course, could be really anything, because, well, it's basically a tropical continental world. I suppose we could look for one that's in the orbit of a gas giant. I think Yavin maybe was one of the moons. Guess we could go Endor, right? I don't know. We'll figure something out. If you guys have any good ideas for what we should name the planets, even if it's not necessarily a Star Wars name, I'll consider it. So now that we have copper coming in, a much better flow, we should now have circuit boards return to production, magnets return to production, because I know for a while a lot of these have actually shut down because we have pretty much tapped everything on this planet. Now, we do still have a million iron and 600-ish thousand copper, but pretty much everything for the most part is being mined, with the exception of stone and coal, because we're just not using it at a super high quantity yet. Let's see. I'm trying to think what we've done. Oh, so with the hydrogen, I actually had forgotten to offload it from the gas giant, those collectors. So I was like, we should have quite a lot of hydrogen, but we don't. So turns out I just didn't actually connect it, but now I did. And so then if we look over kind of in this area right here, I basically have it set up so it takes the hydrogen we produce from the fuel, and then if there is extra room, it puts it into storage, because otherwise this whole thing will fill up and then this oil area will shut down. We are going to have to actually get more oil at some point, because we are tapped at 35.6 units per second, which is decreasing yield, as oil wells are almost an infinite. I say almost infinite, but they're not really, because it does diminish over time. Let's see, what else did we do? We added the titanium glass, Kirchmere crystals, some water to support the glass, and then I think that was it. Oh, we added some more processors, but that was just moving it a little bit. I don't think we've done anything else other than that. So with that, let's go ahead and go head over there and start kind of setting up the production of the 48 assemblers, is I think what it is. Right? I think that's 48. 12, 12, 24. Yep, 48. So this is where the planes are going to be made. Well, I say planes, but it's plane filter. So let's go ahead and get this put in everywhere. I've also noticed the game has been lagging a little bit. I don't know why. Actually, I suppose we could find out and eliminate it. I know the game has not been super optimized. I mean, it's been improved, because I remember when it first came out that it was a little more strenuous. But a game like this is going to be fairly demanding. Even like Factorio was kind of demanding, but it wasn't really that bad. So I don't know. We'll work through it. If it ends up being too much of an issue, what I think I'll do is see what we can get with just the bare minimum in the factory. Oh good, I've already placed most of these. To basically get functionality out of things. And by that I mean produce whatever the necessary parts are at one time and shut off parts of the factory, just so that way we don't have as many updates per tick or something. That might be a little bit more complex, but when we start to run into little errors like this, it kind of gets a little bit annoying, but we'll see. Because they do kind of compound into bigger issues. I have turned down the graphics a little bit, but I'm guessing it's probably just the game, which is usually indicative of if you turn the graphics down on a game and you're still getting lag issues, then it's usually not the graphics that are the problem. Which I've never really had issues with graphics being the main problem. I mean, I don't have any of the new GPUs, but I do have a decent-ish card that should last. That being a 2070 Super, in case anybody's wondering. The specs for the PC that I currently have are either... I know they're on the Twitch page. I can't remember if I have them on YouTube. They might not be on YouTube. I think they're just on Twitch. We'll see. I'll look into it. If I remember, I'll update it on YouTube side. Alright, so we need... Oh, we actually just need these 2 items. I was gonna say, now we need to connect a bunch of things, but we really don't need to connect that many. Okay, so we'll do that one. And yeah, we'll probably just do something like... That's fine, actually. Go like that. Like that. Like that. Like a so. Okay. Something like that. I mean, we're definitely getting fairly close to the end of things. Let's see, is there any research we can do that we haven't done? Nope, we need gravity, we need gravity. Alright, so we have all the technology there. We need green, green, green. Some of these are locked behind us needing other things. Oh, we can get that. That one. Oh, we can't get that one. This one. Usually we're locked behind like the handful that we need. That one. That one. Okay, so at this point we are locked behind. We need green. So we have 6 more researches. There might be a handful that I missed, but just minor upgrades, I think, at this point. We'll go like that. Over. Fortunately, this isn't a game like Factorio where you can kind of supplement a lot of your belts and a lot of these updates with robots. I mean, you can kind of, but definitely not to the extent that you can in Factorio. Because, I mean, I suppose you could try to cut it down, right, to a bare minimum and just integrate the planetary stations. Then only have the minimum necessary belts needed. But I actually don't know how much, let's see, performance. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. We're getting up to 70-ish UPS, which isn't bad. I mean, it's not great. I would prefer closer to 100. I mean, the main thing is, I mean, the whole factory is about 20%. The main logic is kind of high. And then obviously tweaking some of these is going to be important. So it looks like we have spikes in the draw call, which, okay, we could optimize some things in the factory to try to reduce some of these things, but kind of at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot we can do. I know power looks like it's having some spiky spikes. And same with cargo. So obviously there are things you could tune in your factory so you don't get these weird spikes. The main thing is the draw call. Like, the draw call and then the main logic kind of fight back and forth for the big thing. As for the GPU, yeah, I mean, cargo looks like it's the largest. So, again, there are certain things you can do to cut down in your factory, right? So, maybe we'll look into that as we kind of progress towards that. I think we're gonna need a power, yeah. So for something like this where it's very dense, I opt for these bigger power relays. So we can put one there, and then let's make all 4 of those, please. Geez, we're having to start actually crafting some of the bare bones material that I didn't think we were gonna have to craft for a while. Mainly, again, because a lot of the components that I had set up and a lot of that storage I had set up was specifically designed for this kind of point of the game where everything more or less was close to the bare minimum we needed for certain facilities to function at basically how many matrices we're going to produce per minute. And at the beginning, certain things we set up, like the magnets and circuit boards and stuff like that, were way overkill for what we were using. But now that we're really kind of in the end game, and obviously there is a lot more to the game in terms of going between star systems and all that. And technically, I guess we could have been doing that because we do now have had access to the warp cells or the space warper for a little bit, which just allows us to initiate that warp engine to go between star systems. Alright, so let's get another one of these. We could put it here, but I think that would be a little bit wasteful. If we put one there and one there, that should cover everything, right? Yep. They become very useful for things. So now we have these, so we can write those off. Now we can make quantum chips. We only need 12 assemblers for quantum chips, which I think is great. But we need more assemblers. I think it's kind of funny. I feel like I've gone pretty much this entire campaign without ever having actually set up any production of the machines or the infrastructure. Whereas in a game like Factorio, I feel like I would have already done it. I mean, sometimes it does get kind of pushed to the back burner, or even the advanced stuff gets kind of pushed to the back burner, but I'm kind of happy that... I don't know. I don't know if I'd say I'm happy, but I'm kind of surprised that I've made it this far without actually doing it. Let's get these placed down. So we said we needed 12? Yes. Oh, we need to make room for the belt. These have 2 inputs, I believe. So we'll do 6 there. 1, 2, 3, 6. Alright. Like so, quantum chips. And yeah, we could use the Mark IIs. We do have access to them, and we do have the resources to make them. But for now, I'm just going to use these. A lot of the components we've been basing everything off of have been these. Okay, I believe, yeah, both those. Are going to be this direction. Alright, we'll go like that and that. Do a similar thing over here, like this and this. Alright, I'm gonna get this set up, and then I'm gonna get some not matrices, some labs set up, mainly just crafting the labs, and then we'll be right back, just so you guys don't have to kind of watch me place all the belts, because this will be, well, belts, and then the sorters will take a little bit, so I will be right back once I get all that placed. Okay, and we're back. Still kind of in the process of crafting things, but I didn't quite want to just skip right to the eventuality, kind of that end, if you will. Did want to bring you in just a tad before it. So, let's see, where are they? Right here. So in this jumbled mess of things, which at one point had some organization and now is just put things wherever they go, which on one hand looks kind of interesting. I mean, I'm sure to some of you, you're probably scratching your eyes out at how terrible this looks, but that is an unfortunate side effect, I guess, of my spaghetti factory. I don't know. I feel like I'm always really organized when I play some of these factory builders, but then other times I feel like I'm just a complete mess and there's literally no organization. Whatever it is we're doing. Because I feel like in Factorio, I really planned out the factory. Whereas in this, I mean, I kind of have some things planned, but the belts just really aren't. But I think part of that is just the way the belt system works. Okay. Okay, let's get that belt going. Awesome. So now the other component is the quantum chips, which we're probably just going to route at a very high altitude. Once we power... Not everything has power. Oh, we don't have any outputs. Yeah, that could definitely be a problem. And CPUs haven't arrived. Okay. Well, there's a little bit more of a problem. It looks like power is having issues. That's what the orange means, in case anybody's wondering. So let's go take a look at what's holding CPUs up. It could be we just didn't attach the sorters. Yep, we just didn't do that. I was gonna say, usually we do everything but one thing. As for power... most of our power is coming from these, which implies not enough fuel, which could be a cascade actually. Money rod. Okay, let's take 12 to see if we can jumpstart the system just a little bit. Because I know that it could be a negative feedback loop, so as it slowly winds down, we slowly run out of power, and then in turn more machines turn off, thus less production of the things we need. Awesome. Cool. And we keep getting some more of those in-game achievements. I don't think they're actual Steam achievements. Also, I did kind of come up with a interesting idea for... kind of, I don't know if I'd call it a full-blown series, but maybe a micro-series. where I basically go back to games I have finished or games I've played, and if I don't already have all the achievements for it, we do kind of like an achievement hunt. Obviously it would be condensed down into like chapters, I guess. I'd have to figure out how to use the YouTube chapters function, but I'm sure I could figure it out. And then basically they'd probably be a little bit of a longer episode because I'd only probably do one per game. So it'd probably be something closer to like 30, maybe even 40 minutes. But it would just basically be me more or less explaining how we went about getting a particular achievement. And then obviously some games have like open the game, get an achievement, start a world, get an achievement, right? And so some of those would probably be lumped up together and as these are starting achievements you're going to get basically regardless, with little to no input type scenario. Or I might even just do the ones that I don't have and not even cover the ones I've already achieved, and then just make a note of, hey, go watch X series for how we got those or whatever. I don't know. Tell me if it sounds like a half decent idea. Obviously I'm going to flesh the idea out more, but that was just kind of one of those thoughts that I had while I was trying to come up with some other interesting ideas besides just some Let's Plays. I thought of some guides for games, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be more. I don't want it to be the gamer with some knowledge leading the gamers with other less knowledge, but we'll see. Okay, do we really just not have enough of these? We don't. I need to set these up for proper production, but every time I think about it, I'm like, but we're so close. I don't want to invest that, but then it's like, I might as well. Yeah, we're so close. Once we hook this up, we'll have the matrices. Definitely getting lost in things here. I don't like how it resets your build height when you put it away. I don't know if that's a setting we can change, but I have to constantly go back and say, okay, go there. Go there. We are in the home stretch. Mainly as we wait for items to construct. Come on, turn. Any moment, game, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, let's let our robots do their thing, and we'll head back. We'll backtrack a little bit, make sure the belt gets all placed down, and then we'll have the gravitation matrices, and we'll be pretty good. As for kind of the next step, once we have, because now that we have the quantum chips, we can make small carrier rockets, so we can start launching those. And hey, we can even make vertical launching silos. So you know what? I think in the next episode we'll look at getting all that set up and probably begin the initial construction of our Dyson sphere, and hopefully start actually getting super reliable power. I mean, the solar sails are kind of reliable, but I'm hoping the Dyson sphere is less laggy. I'm actually not even sure if it's the solar sails causing the lag. I'll actually look into it, or if you guys happen to know, like, oh, this thing that I'm doing happens to be the really laggy thing in the factory, you know, avoid doing it. If you guys just have any general tips to improve it, besides buying a new, like, GPU and CPU, because that's not gonna happen. I suppose I could just take a bunch of potatoes and bootstrap them together. Make a super potato. I mean, my computer's not terrible. It could run pretty much almost any game. I say almost because there are a handful that I've played, like Icarus and stuff, that at launch at least weren't great, but that I blame more on the optimization and less on the actual game. Alright, so quantum chips. Where are you? There you are. Just so I can see them made, you guys can see them made, and we'll have our first science bag. Also, so we can get the achievement on camera. Jeez, episode's been going for 25 minutes. Hey, there we go. Our first gravity matrix. Well, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Smash that like button. If you haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe, as it really does help out the channel. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything I've done in today's episode or anything in the series, or if you guys just want to say hi, that also really helps out. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys later. Oh yeah, look at that. Jeez. Yep. Alright. Have a good one, guys.